Welcome to The Author Show, where we feature new authors and books, from fiction to self-help and everything in between. You'll find it all at theauthorshow.com. That's theauthorshow.com. And now let the show begin.
Hello and welcome back to the show. This is your host, Don McCauley. Today we're welcoming program author Deborah Henderson, and she is the author of Lost. Before I bring in today's guest, a quick reminder that selected interviews are available at our website, as well as on major platforms like Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, and many more. Deborah, how are you?
I'm fine, and you?
Good. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
I'm retired. I've had a lot of jobs in my life and decided to start writing about 6 years ago.
So tell us about your book.
The name of my book is Lost, spelled with 2 S's. If you've ever lost a child, that is what this book is about. It's a deeply personal story about survival, courage, resilience, love, and hope. It's about Samantha. She goes by Sam, a young girl who escapes a horrific past and creates a new and wonderful life for herself. But she eventually faces new tragedies that challenge her grip on reality. It is set in the beautiful landscape of Sayward, BC, which is on Vancouver Island in Canada.
Now, who did you write your book for specifically? Who's your target audience here?
Well, I believe that Lost makes a great read for people who are or know someone who is struggling with trauma or loss, adults, mothers, and grandmothers. It's a story that I think will resonate for many people, but honestly, in the beginning, I wrote it for myself. Writing has always been therapeutic for me. You see, I lost a daughter, son-in-law, and grandson in a fire 13 years ago. It feels like yesterday.
So could you say there's any type of central message or perhaps underlying theme that you would say runs throughout your book?
For many people, life is difficult, leaving them struggling. The loss of someone close to your heart can be devastating, but we all have the strength to survive if we dig deep down inside ourselves. My advice, don't close yourself to the world and focus on positive things in your life. Your lost loved ones are watching over you and are happy that you are doing things that bring you joy. I've learned that it's okay to laugh and have a great time. It's also okay to show emotion.
So if you had to choose, what would you say is the single most important idea you're sharing in your book that's really going to add value to the reader's life?
Don't be afraid to speak out. The right person will listen. There are good people in the world willing to help you when you're in need. Even strangers I've found who know and have experienced what you are going through can be very supportive. Most of all, though, cherish your memories. I love this quote from Dr. Seuss. Sometimes you never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. You need to focus on enjoying your life and keep making great memories.
Now, if you were asked to compare your book with any book out there we might already be familiar with, which book would it be and why?
I would compare it to any book about survival and the will to live. One I really enjoyed was The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and the other books in the Millennium series. The main character, Lisbeth, reveals childhood traumas that shape her life. Sam, in Lost, has a familiar story. Her experience with loss and childhood trauma drives her fight for survival and to create a better life for herself.
So what inspired you to write this book, and how did the idea first come to you?
I've lived through my own share of trauma and challenges, including personal loss. Like the main character in both my books, I've found the courage and strength to keep going. I've always written stories. I find writing therapeutic. I also got a little nudge from my daughter, who came to me in a beautiful dream, suggesting that I share my stories. Needless to say, I took her advice and published my first book, The Missing Pieces, and now my second, Lost.
So how do you approach developing your characters? Do any of them draw from real-life people?
In Lost, the main character, Sam, is definitely me. Katie, her child, represents my daughter. The other characters are, well, people that I wish I'd known in my life to help me get through my struggles.
So what was the most challenging part of writing this book?
That's easy. It's a deeply personal story, bringing back memories of past trauma and loss. It took me years to write this, and believe me, many tears were shed, but many great memories also resurfaced, giving me the inspiration and courage that I needed to keep writing.
Can you tell us briefly about some of the other characters in the book?
Millie. I love Millie. She's a little bit of a hard ass. She's very sarcastic and straight to the point and surprises a lot of people when she converses with them. She's a very lovable character.
So tell us about the book cover and where the inspiration for that cover came from.
Anyone who knew my daughter will recognize her eyes, which are on the cover above a forest scene where a hiker is standing by a stream. My daughter and I did some hiking together. Our last hike was a little after she gave birth to my grandson, and the three of us headed to the top of a mountain. It was an extraordinary day. When I'm struggling, I find solace in the forest and the mountains, where I can talk to her, and I know she's watching over me.
So have you received any feedback yet from readers, and did it help you in the writing process?
I get a lot of feedback. Like any author, my book genre is not for everyone, and I understand that. For those who love to read stories about struggle and survival, I get plenty of great reviews, and their feedback and encouragement are what keeps me writing.
Was there a character or a scene that you could say is your favorite?
Other than Sam, my favorite character is Ralph, a man of few words. He's quiet and always seems grumpy, but he has the ability to see through Sam to the scars left from her past. He is a very understanding and lovable character. As for my favorite scene, there are so many, but I especially love the ones where Sam and her mom communicate. They are heartwarming, beautiful, and surreal.
So did your environment or upbringing perhaps play any major role in your writing?
I think so. I have experienced childhood trauma and loss. In Lost, Sam loses both her mother and father to be raised by a monster. With her strength and will to survive, she manages to escape and start a new life for herself. And I'm sure that many other people can relate to that. My past experience definitely show up in my writing. I write what I know.
So what can you tell us about this genre and why you decided to write in this genre?
I typically define my genre as psychological fiction. I enjoy writing twisted plots and going back and forth between memories, dreams, and the present. I prefer to write books like this because it draws upon much of my own life experiences and how my mind works and deals with my life.
Are you planning on writing any more books?
I've been thinking about it. I have the idea of maybe possibly continuing my first book, making like a second in a series. But yeah, I'm still thinking about that.
So if you could have one thing happen with any of your books, what would that one thing be?
I wish it would really help people with their struggles. Life is hard and, they are books about survival. Maybe people can learn a few things as they read.
So what's been your most rewarding experience since publishing your book?
Well, the book was just published in late August, but I received a message from someone in my former hometown that she saw it on Amazon and had already purchased it. This was even before I found out that it had been released. I was overjoyed that people were following my progress and already searching for my book. Since then, I have received numerous messages from people who purchased and have already read my book and loved it. I'm very grateful for their encouragement and support.
So how would you describe your writing style?
I really enjoy writing dialogue in the first person. I like that it places the reader in the main character's mind, her thoughts, flashbacks, and her dreams. I write with a familiar tone. Sam is not well educated, so her language is simple and down to earth. It makes the book an easy read.
So if you had to choose, would you say you're more of a character artist or more a plot-driven writer?
I believe I'm a bit of both. I do love developing interesting characters. Many of them are drawn from people I know, and others developed as characters I wish I had encountered in my life. I also typically introduce plot twists in my book. It makes the story more interesting, which keeps readers guessing and wanting to know more.
Other than selling your book, of course, is there anything else you hope to accomplish with it?
I really hope that people reading my book who are struggling will find the inspiration and strength to better their lives. Also, I hope that those who know someone in that situation can learn how to support and understand them better. I would love for my book to be a big success and touch a lot of people's lives.
So in your opinion, who should buy your book?
I think people who are struggling will find inspiration. Also, bereaved parents might benefit from my book as a reminder that their lost loved ones are still there and watching over them. Women, 18 plus, maybe grandparents. Obviously, it's not a book for children. And I think women will appreciate it more than men since it focuses on a woman's life. But I know some men who have read it and really enjoyed it. Also, mental health awareness groups and educators. And of course, people who live in BC or on Vancouver Island, or people who just are fascinated by the beauty of our landscape will find the book interesting because it takes place here on the island that I now call home.
Do you have a website?
Yes, I do. It's DeborahHendersonAuthor.com. And if you go to my website, my books are just one click away. The button will lead you to Amazon, where you can purchase the book in paperback, hardcover, and ebook.
And could you spell your name for us, please?
It's DeborahHenderson.
Well, this has been just great. Our guest today has been Deborah Henderson, and she is the author of Lost. Deborah, thanks very much for being with us today.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
This is Don McCauley wrapping up another edition of The Author Show. Go out there, buy the book today, and please share this interview with your friends so they too have the opportunity to discover our guests and their work. The Author Show can be accessed at any time at theauthorshow.com. And for easy access to the show on your mobile devices, just download our app in the App Store or Google Play Store through the QR code on our website. And whether you're an author who would like to be featured or a reader in search of new books to read, The Author Show is a great place to start. Check us daily as we continue to introduce wonderful authors of very interesting books on The Author Show.
Thanks for listening to The Author Show. Find out more about authors and their work at theauthorshow.com. Theauthorshow.com. Tune in next time to another great author on The Author Show.